This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Central Texas Life. We're going to talk about traveling with Julie Ruiz, who is the owner of Love Group Travel LLC out of Temple.
Yes, ma'am.
And we had the chance to visit back in the holidays with a taste of the holidays. El Trusa, you're real involved
Yes.
in the community there. Had a great event, but we were talking about travel and different things, and you said, well, I happen to have a travel agency. I said, well, let's talk, because I know people are done with COVID. They're ready to get out and go and travel and see things.
Yes.
And has that been your experience with?
Yeah, there was that pent up just desire to get out, and budgets. People had reserved funds for vacations, and then COVID hit, and it was such a mess. But now we're on the other side of it. And we have seen record numbers in bookings and just folks traveling everywhere. It's back to almost pre-pandemic, almost back to 2019. So the only bad side about this is the airlines haven't quite gotten back up to speed with hiring their pilots back. They don't have enough air traffic controllers, things like that. So the hitch that you will find right now, I think, is in the airlines, and that portion of your travel may be a little bit more frustrating.
Yeah, and in most cases, it's usually just add a little extra time.
Yes.
When you're going to the airport.
Yes.
Particularly if it's international travel, you need to build in, 3 hours?
I would say, and you definitely need to, if you can, go ahead and get your global entry, which includes your TSA pre-check. That will help you skirt through the security lines a little bit.
I'll have to tell you my story about that. So, like so many women, we marry, and my driver's license has Ann Wells Harder. My passport, though, says Anne Marie Harder. And even though I have TSA, they did not recognize my TSA check-in anywhere because of the discrepancy on those two forms. Mike had his, but then he didn't change his
So
name.
they flagged it. How was your airline ticket booked? Was it booked with which
Well,
name?
it was,
with the passport
I think it was
name?
booked. It may have just been booked Ann Harder. I don't know. Mike handles all that stuff. But, yeah, it was...
Everything
but,
has to be...
It ended up, even though we enjoy the TSA pre-check, and it's worth the money to do that, for sure. For domestic travel, never had an issue with it. But, yeah, internationally, but it didn't take that long. It was not...
It depends on the date that you're traveling.
Well,
so
maybe.
some of those peak travel dates, oh my goodness, it could be wrapped around the Austin airport, outside. Just depends on Austin has grown as an airport, and the flow that's going through that airport, it just hasn't quite caught the TSA check-in, and all of that has not caught up with the demand. And so that airport, we've seen a lot of delays, a lot of connectivity issues, baggage lost, things like that. So anytime I'm going internationally, I try to get to one of the bigger guys like DFW or George Bush.
Yeah, that's probably really, really good advice there. Well, I do want to talk a little bit about some of your best practices for travel, both domestic and international travel. One thing, we just got back from a wonderful Christmas market trip on the Rhine, only the second cruise we've ever taken in our lives, and don't do a lot of international. I haven't traveled internationally. I couldn't even tell you when. So a lot of it was like, okay, this is going to be new for us. Wonderful. Everything was just great, and had an awesome time. But all that to say, there are some tips that I think folks could benefit from.
Definitely, especially if that's your first time to Europe. I think river cruising is an amazing way to experience Europe for the first time, or if you're just trying to reconnect with Europe. I wish there were more river cruise lines elsewhere in other areas. I mean, there are down in Colombia and
Oh, really?
yeah. So it's spurring a lot of interest. Same
Well,
with train
because
travel.
having taken one other cruise in Alaska on a big boat, 3,000 people, you know what, it was just, like a city to 126 people.
Yes.
We really liked the
It's
smaller.
wonderful. It's like a
Yeah.
floating boutique hotel. So
It really was.
Yeah, you unpack one time.
Exactly. That's the best part,
Yes.
is that you're not packing and unpacking with every city you go to.
And then it just pulls you right up into the middle of the city and you hop out, and there's not too long of commutes between your excursions, and it's just a really lovely way to travel. Most of the river cruise lines will try to pair even the menu down to whatever port or city you're pulling into. So a lot of folks will come back aboard the ship to eat all of their meals because it's paired, and the wine pairing, everything is paired to the port
For
in
that
which-
for that city. We did end up, when we would leave the boat in the morning, we would eat in the town, to kind of really get the local flavor with the Christmas markets, lots of food. But breakfast and dinner, it was great. I mean, it was, as I say, every time you turn around, it's time to eat.
It is. Like, you will gain weight, but just try to walk. Try to pick all those
You
active
do the
excursions.
walking
Yeah.
tours that you can do.
Definitely. And bundle up. Make sure that we were just discussing packing and what you felt like. I always ask clients when they come back, what didn't you wear? And so kind of line that up whenever you go to unpack after a journey, and see what didn't you wear, and then try to remember that the next time that you go.
Right.
I keep a list, and I use
That's
packing cubes.
That's a good point. I was sharing what our not our cruise director, but our little activities girl. She was so cute. She said at the very end, we had a little gathering with everybody, and she said, "My advice to you is this," with her cute little German accent. She said, "Lay everything out you're going to take, and all your money out. Take half the clothes and double the money."
Yeah, that's a great thing, because you will want to purchase just amazing stuff that's there, and you want to bring it
And you
back
need the
and
room
share
to put
it.
it.
Yes.
We were finding room for nutcrackers, I promise you.
Well, I always give my clients a bag that is just folds up into a little ball like that, and for them to drop down into their suitcase, so that when they buy all of those souvenirs, they have an extra bag that they can carry on to the plane. But I tell them, don't bring a bring a carry-on,
Right.
leave space in your luggage. But
Yeah.
that little bag does come in handy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, we did real well. We did real well with all that. Didn't overbuy, and enough fun things to say, yeah, we had some great memories from that trip. When you're talking about planning, there's just so many different things you can do in this great big world.
Yes.
Do you have like a favorite? How long have you been doing this, for example?
So I started out as a volunteer when my husband was stationed on the island of Guam.
Oh,
He
really?
was in the
Okay.
Navy, and so I started as a volunteer with the Officer Spouse Club, and we would go all over Indonesia and Asia and all different things like that. So that was back in 2004. And then after that, I kept doing it for nonprofits, and then I started my own business in 2016. So I've been doing it as a business for about 7-8 years.
Yeah, yeah. But you've been traveling. You've done a lot
Oh,
lot
yes.
of traveling.
Yes.
So back to my original question. Then, what do you have like a favorite
I
place
have,
that you say I go back tomorrow?
okay, so for romance, definitely the islands of Tahiti.
Oh,
Can't
really?
beat it. Can't beat it. Husbands, if you want to guarantee that you're going to make your spouse happy, and this is it, you need to go to the islands of Tahiti.
Really? Okay.
Bora Bora in particular.
Really? Okay.
And-
Not ever been there.
And they have all the over-the-water bungalows, but I would pair that because that's the most expensive part of that journey. I would just put a couple nights there and then hop on the Paul Gauguin, which is a small ship that will go through all of the islands. So that's my number one romance.
Okay.
My number one culture, Immersive would be Bali in Indonesia. Spectacular because you get a little glimpse of just everything. Rainforest, completely different culture. The people are amazing. They love us over there. It's inexpensive once you get there. You know, the key is
Right,
the airfare.
right. It's airfare.
But yeah, and New Zealand is another one that's
Oh, wow. That's a long flight.
It's a long flight, but spectacular.
Yeah.
So those would be my my top three. But as far as best bang for your buck, I would say the river cruising, because you get to go through multiple countries, all in one pretty little package. I think that that's really cool. But if you wanted to do domestic, national parks, I love the national parks.
Yeah.
We have such beauty within the United States. It's a little trickier to plan that, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, because there's not as many built itineraries already, and like to get into some of those lodges, it's
Yeah.
years in advance that you would
That's
have
true.
to book. So yeah, that's where working with a travel professional could really help you out. And they have such great relationships with the vendors, and they've been so many places, and they have a network of other advisors they can rely upon. Because the internet's so hard to navigate. I mean, your imagery on there may not be truly, it may not be a true depiction of what you're gonna
get. Yeah.
And reviews, even reviews now with AI, you have so many fake reviews out there, and it's hard to pick out which are real and which aren't. People from different countries have a different perspective on what they think is luxury, what they think the food should be, what accommodations are good. So you have to think about all of those things. So.
Well, and in travel, you got to be thinking about food from the standpoint of snacks, or what if there's a snag and you kind of end up without being able to eat
always
at the right time.
Always bring some things with you, especially like if you're going more than a 5-hour flight. I would say also in your backpack or your carry-on, bring something like one change of clothing.
Right.
Because when you get to, if your baggage is lost, sometimes you can't get to a store,
right?
Especially if it's holiday season. A lot of stores are closed. Or if you're a different type of sizing, it's very difficult to find something that you would be comfortable wearing before that baggage makes its way back to you, if it makes its way back to you.
Oh my goodness! That sounds like a problem maybe you've run across.
Yes, with several clients, and on a
Wow.
16-day trip, they did not have luggage for 6 of the days of the 16 days. So this, I mean,
after all that agony of trying to decide what to take,
yes,
it didn't
and
matter.
they didn't have it. Yeah, so
oh my gosh,
you learn how to get back, and we wouldn't have gotten their luggage back had we not driven back to an airport. Like, we were within a tour company that was fabulous and let us take off and go
make that errand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, see, and that's the beauty of having a professional.
Yes.
Planning because the worry is yours.
That's right. And we take all that guesswork out of it. But it's a partnership, because you have to tell us what you're interested in.
Right.
We have to be great listeners, and we're more like counselors, is how I would like to view what I do, is being a counselor and really kind of picking up those key words of what lights you up, what you're passionate about. And I try to be a great matchmaker for those experiences, and so that you don't have to worry about all of that. But if you encounter something when you're on in destination, you have to reach out to us during the destination while you're there, instead of waiting till you get back and saying, this was bad or this happened. I can't fix it.
You can't fix it when it's
Yeah.
it's too late.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we mentioned the Rhine River cruise. That's what we happen to be on. And I guess my biggest concern, because we had friends who during the summer months had planned their trip of a lifetime, take the Rhine River cruise, and there was not enough water in the river.
Oh, yep.
So they ended up on motor coaches,
Yes.
going here and there, which was okay. I mean, they saw the places. It just wasn't what they had hoped it would be. Of course, ours was in December. We're thinking, it's not going to be a problem with enough water in the Rhine. in fact, what we almost were part of a disaster in that the week before our trip, it had snowed, a record snow in Munich.
So it was too much water.
And then it was a record warm, and all that snow melted. And we were told that if we had been 2 days later, we would have been stuck on the Rhine because
was
would
too
have,
high.
we were in front of the wave. So we rode the wave all the way to Amsterdam without any issue. But there were other cruises behind us that, and I don't know what they
They'll just
did.
try to get some of the cruise lines will take you to different ports and
Yeah.
try to change your itinerary a
right,
little
and
bit.
then they're scrambling to find buses to get you and places to stay. I mean, all that. I
Yes,
guess.
but they're well equipped for it. Most of those
Yeah.
suppliers they're used to this, but there are certain months you can avoid, especially for low water. August is one of them.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of that. If you go earlier in the spring, you're going to run into lots of rain. I mean, there's a lot of tips and tricks that we could hand out about river cruising, about when to pick your journey. But yeah, we're rocking and rolling, especially with rivers. Rivers are really popular
which
right now.
brings me to, you do have something planned for next October, the 2025. I happen to see a Facebook posting where you'll be starting in Amsterdam.
Yes, and we'll be
And-
ending in Basel, Switzerland.
In
And we
Switzerland,
have
yeah.
a few stops along the way. We haven't released where we're stopping because if we fill this ship, which is the hope that we're going to take Central Texas and just fill the ship with my own clients. The demand is really great for that. A
Yeah.
lot of folks that have never been to Europe want to go together.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
this
And
is-
it's so much. We were with 2 other couples, and you always had somebody you're going to eat with. Of course, we met a lot of charming, lovely people.
Yes.
But still, it was nice to be with friends. To
It's
enjoy all
very
that.
nice. It's very nice. But you have to start way in advance. That's the other thing, a result of COVID, coming back from COVID, is you're seeing travel being booked almost 2 years out.
Really?
And so not your airfare. Don't buy your airfare. I mean,
No.
you can't do that even when you're out, but try not to go that far in advance with your airfare. You won't benefit from that. But tours and cruises and things like that, you do need to go ahead and be securing your spot because there's not as many. The demand is so great. So that's why we started so early. We're going to start taking names for staterooms in January. And so it's going to be a fun time.
Well, it's just going to be awesome. I know folks are going to have a lovely time.
Yes.
And it's in October, so will the Christmas markets be up?
No,
and
they
running
will
yet?
not. We'll be having the tail end of Oktoberfest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it will be, and the colors.
Yeah, as I say.
Yeah. The colors will be magnificent along the Rhine. for the fall
We
foliage.
saw no color to speak of. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get to experience a lot of that. I know that there's a lot of Texans who are football enthusiasts, so they're a little worried about taking off during football season, but
Oh.
they will provide. They will have. We're always close enough to shore that we can get good coverage, and you'd be able to watch those games. Because I know
Yeah.
that was kind of a worry
It
of
was
a lot of
something
the husbands.
See, so much you have to think about.
Yes, but it's fun. It's so exciting, and people are so enthused about it. So this is going to be our first one where we try to charter the whole ship, and then, but we do group trips throughout the year. That's kind of my niche of our team. Is I'm luxury, exotics, and groups. And then we've got different team members that handle Disney and national parks.
Because
and-
some people just, I'm taking all the kids. Well, and quite a lot of these cruises are adults only.
Yes. Now, on AMA Waterways, which is who we will be sailing with, they do have several that are in partnership with Adventures by Disney, and those are families. And
Okay.
so you just have to seek those sailings out. Some river cruise lines will allow children 8 and older, but there's not any programming for them. So you need to know
Right.
that. Like they
And there's downtime that it's always good to have something planned. And
Yes. Yeah, because river cruising is not going to be your nightlife
No.
experience. It's going to be for people who really want to connect, and
Right.
they're going to be adventuresome during the day, and then they just kind of want to chill at night. There is entertainment, but it's not like nightclub.
no, it's
You know.
much more kind of family oriented from the standpoint of just a smaller group of people that you'd kind of get to know.
Yeah, think
Well,
of it like a lounge or a living
Exactly.
room, like you're going into your
and that's how it.
living
Yeah, that's
room.
I'm picturing it now because that's how it was very much so. And
yeah.
yeah, but you get in 8 days on a single ship, you get to know the staff. I mean, it's very much a family atmosphere, and you can tell they all liked each other and worked well together, and it was just a great experience.
I have a question. Did you know that you were going to be docked next to another boat? Like, did you ever, and wake up and whoops, what's going on next door?
Exactly. And there were a couple of times that happened. In fact, some were next to each other, and they'd walk through.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, we did see
And
that.
we've had people open their blinds in their stateroom, and there's another
There's
boat
a boat
there.
right there. Hello.
And you're not thinking that's you're whoa. So I
Yeah.
always warn people do not open that in your pajamas if you don't want other people to see
Just
you.
you might
Yeah.
you might have somebody drinking their coffee looking right at your window. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, we
because
did. It was great. It was really a wonderful experience. I highly recommend it. And several people said, "Oh, it's on my bucket list of
Yes.
things to do." But I will certainly tell them about what's coming up.
Yes,
with-
and we can book them on any of them. But
Yeah.
this one should be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of really cool folks that are going to be on board that we're going to do coffee and conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to, as we're sailing, we have a lot of little surprise and delight moments
Yeah.
that Texans will enjoy.
They
for sure.
they will enjoy it. That's awesome. Well, I like to end these little visits with a little questionnaire, similar to the one the late great James Lipton would use on Inside the Actors Studio. So,
Okay.
so here we go. What, Julie, is your favorite word?
Love.
Okay, it's in the name of your company.
Yep. It's in everything. Love and joy. Those are the two things that I try to focus on every single day.
Okay, your least favorite word?
Least favorite word would be no.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the negative.
Open up.
Yeah.
Try something. Yep.
Okay, so what turns you on creatively, emotionally, or spiritually?
Spiritually is our good Lord Jesus Christ, and He is with me every moment of every day. And my creativity is stemmed from Him. I'm grateful to that, and to my late mother. She was a really vivacious, spunky woman who always was willing to try new things.
Yeah.
And so just not being scared to step outside of my comfort zone. So, yeah, definitely.
Well, and honestly, there's some of that because
Yes.
it is easier to just stay in that easy chair in front of the TV.
Yes, but embracing those cultures and the
Oh, I
people,
know.
and you learn so much. I wish every young person could be sent, to a third world country, because you would realize how wonderful our lives are, and how much we take it for granted.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, what turns you off creatively or spiritually or emotionally?
Turns me off, probably negativity again. Anyone that's going to come at you and say, or pass judgment on other folks.
Yeah,
That turns me off big time.
What sound do you love the most?
Water,
Yeah,
Like
I've heard that from
flowing
so
water.
many people. Yeah.
flowing
Yeah.
water, and children. The laughs of children. I'm about to be a grandparent.
Are you?
In April, my very first
Oh.
one. So I'm very excited
Oh,
about that.
life will never be the same.
I'm super excited about
Do you know
it.
if it's a girl or a boy?
It's a girl.
A girl. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. What sound do you hate?
Probably it wouldn't be silence because I quite enjoy some silence.
Yeah. In fact, I've had a musician tell me they like silence
Oh,
the
I
best.
could see
It's kind of interesting.
I probably crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What other profession would you like to have tried or like to try?
Yours.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, you could do
Most certainly. Yes. Yes. In my yearbook, it said I was going to be the next Barbara Walters.
Oh, really?
Okay, you see that did not happen. But I was on my school TV show
Yeah.
and all of that, like morning announcements and stuff. I loved it. I love meeting people.
Well, and you still get to do that, though.
Yes.
I'm sure through with your travel groups.
Yes.
I mean,
I love like working with them
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I do have to present
Yeah,
whenever
exactly.
I'm there.
No, you
So,
do.
Yeah. That's exactly what I would have
Good.
loved to have done.
Then what job do you know you would not want to do? No, thank you. Let somebody else do that.
My husband's a physician, and I would say
Oh.
no because I
Yeah.
can't handle blood. Like
Yeah.
it's not my thing. But he does such great things. You know, I
No, I know. They
like
save
the,
lives.
I love the nurturing
Yeah.
side of that, but
Yeah.
not the technical.
Right. Yeah, I'm so glad we have people willing to do that.
Yes, and he's
Yeah.
very good at what
Right.
he does. But
Well, and one last question. What do you want to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
welcome home.
Yeah.
Welcome home.
Very good. And of course those are great words when you travel. It's always so good to come
Yes.
home. But oh my goodness, the things you can see and
Yes.
experience. And so how could folks get in touch with you and
They can
Love Group Travel?
Yeah, they can always just go to our website, lovegrouptravel.com, or you can write me a quick note at Julie at Love Group Travel. We have a big team. There's about 10 of us that could answer your questions, and we'd love to just talk with you.
Oh, that's great. And think about that October
Yes.
trip for next year.
October 2025. So we're going to start planning those at least a year out. So
Yeah, and it will fill up.
yeah, I hope
It will
so.
fill up,
I
yeah.
hope it'll be fun. It'll
Yeah.
be great.
Oh, that's great. Julie, thanks so much. You've given us a lot of good advice, good tips.
Well, thank you
And
for having me.
food for thought, as they say. You know, make those plans and create those memories.
Yes,
that
and don't
travel
forget
can do
travel
that.
insurance.
And don't forget your travel insurance. So one last word of advice.
Yes, for sure.
No, I know, because things can come up and
Yes, things do
life
come
happens and
up.
yeah.
Yes, and people are like, I don't want to spend it on that, but
No, it's
definitely
no.
just
It's-
pat it into the price of whatever adventure you're
It's
doing.
worth it. It's
Yes,
worth it.
for sure.
Julie, thank you.
thank you
All the
so
best
much.
in the new year to you.
You too.
And come back again.
I will.
All
Thank
right,
you so
good.
much.
And thank you for being with us. We'll see you again next time on Central Texas Life. Bye-bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder. This has been a Rogue Media Network